So here is our menu for today. We're going to start with reading skills, um, a little game, ladder race. We'll focus on reading sub skills and then look at the difference between written texts and oral texts, speaking versus writing. We'll look at different aspects of listening, what makes it difficult perhaps, some listening activities, and to round off, hopefully we'll be able to do this activity on receptive skills lessons. Now, welcome to the people just arriving, Ingrid, Katya, and
Hi, good afternoon.
Andrea. Yes. I got a message from Tanya asking about what do these dates mean on the platform. I'm pretty sure it's the date when the unit opens. Yeah. So August 14th is like when you should really start working on background to language learning. Don't worry if you started earlier, it doesn't matter, but that's when it opens. Now, I always put the I've put the video, the recording from last week here under the theme of background to language learning because that was mainly what it was about, wasn't it, last week? Yeah. The background issues. Okay, we've got Vito coming in. Welcome, Vito. To see you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Uh, so this week we'll be looking at language skills, uh, listening and reading. Reading first. We're going to start with a kind of a game um, called Ladder Race. Let me just get the procedure ready. Aye. What is a ladder? Well, let's come on, escalera, right? Something you climb up. The idea of a ladder is that you start at the bottom and you climb to the top, right? So we've got two vertical lines and lots of horizontal lines like rungs, right? I'm going to put you into teams, and the idea is to fill up the ladder spaces with things we read, starting from the bottom. All right, things we read is the task. Each item must be the same length or longer than the word beneath it. So, for example, email can follow a poem because email has 5 letters and poem has 4 letters. But letter cannot follow newspaper. Right? Each team member can write one item only. When the first of you has written an item, someone else has to write an item, right? So you have to take turns. Everyone in each team has the chance to write something, right? And we'll see which team does this fastest, which team fills up the ladder rungs the fastest. Okay. So,
I have a question, Andrew. Sorry.
yeah,
So
I'm going to ask you a question, Paula. How many letters must the next rung have?
5.
One, two, three. Yes, it can only be well, it could be 4 or 5, right? Or more letters. Yeah. So it could be
Oh,
email, for example, yeah, because that's got 5 letters, but it can't be short, it can't be 3 letters, right? So each word for things we read must be longer than the one preceding it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So if you are, did you have any other questions, Anna? Is that
Oh, no,
okay?
no,
Is
no.
that
That
clear
was
enough?
it. Thank
That was
you.
it, yeah. If you are Katia, Ingrid, Marlene, or Andrea, you use this link, okay? So make sure no one else should use that link, all right? Just those 4 people. How many do we need? Yes. 3. Yeah. Ingrid, Marlene, and Andrea. Great. Now, if you are Daniela, Anna Belen, and Axel, you use this link coming into the chat now. There you go. Anna Belen, Axel. And if you are Anna Paula, Tanya, and Vito, seems like Sochitel isn't here. Oh, Sochitel is here, yes. Good to see you, Sochitel. Then you are on C. So make sure you just have the one that belongs to you, the link. Can you confirm with a thumb up that you have the link? All right, so you've got maximum 8 minutes, but the winner is the team that finishes. But remember, you can only one person at a time can write words on there, but you've all got to write a word. It's things that you read. Things that you read. Starting now, you've got 8 minutes. Just a little dynamic activity to get us warmed up. Please join the breakout rooms, guys. Good job, everyone. Okay, so let's just check. We're going to need these for the next activity.
All right.
So one activity leads to the next. Storybooks, social media, biology. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, social media I think is longer, isn't it, than storybooks? Okay. Graphic novels. Yeah. Great. Now, we're going to consider the types of reading subskills that are typically used to read these types of items. Now, for example, no one wrote a train timetable, but we typically scan read a train timetable. Scan read means we have an idea in our mind of the time that we're looking to leave the train station to go to so we want to go from Mexico City to Querétaro. So we look over the train timetable to find the time that we want, right? And that's called scan reading, right? So typically we scan a train timetable, or we scan a book such as a telephone book, like looking for the numbers or someone's name in it, right? Now, I'm going to put you into 3 groups. I'm going to give you access to this interactive whiteboard. And as you can see, Katia, Ingrid, Marlene, and Andrea, you are working on this first slide here. Daniela, Anna, Belen, and Axel, you are in group B on the second slide. And Xochitl, Vitor, Tanya, and Anna Paula, you're on group C. Okay, so what you have to do is match the terminology, because there's a lot of terms related to reading skills, right? So you've got to match them together. So scanning for specific information would be a telephone directory. Now, there are other little bits of terminology as well, like genre and schemata. So see if you can match those. Those will come up later in today's session. What's extensive reading? Yeah. What's skimming for gist? So try to think of what then example for each one of them. After you've matched the blue to the yellow, then try to think of an example from your list of that skill that might be represented there. Okay. So I'll give you the link to this now, and I'll give you how many minutes? I'll give you less than 10 minutes to do this one. Same groups. Here's the link to the interactive whiteboard. Now, it's possible it might ask you to log in with Google. Yeah. And it might ask you for approval from me. So just try to log in and go to your slide, please. Great. I don't seem to. Did I include Ingrid here? Oh, yes, yes, you're on Group A. Now, to to move them, you need to press the button that says select tool, and you click on the sticky note, and you should be able to move it. Hmm? Any problems, Anna Paula? Can you move it? Can you move?
Yes, I can. So all of us at the same time are gonna be moving around and matching.
Yeah, well, the one on your slide, right? The one that belongs to you. So you are
Okay,
slide C, Group C here. Yeah.
okay,
Find the one
yeah,
that says
yeah,
Group C with your name on it, yeah? So press the select, yeah, and then move it.
okay.
All right. I'll have a go at that. I'll put you into breakout room so you can talk about it together. And let's do it. Please go to your breakout room, Sir Chittle. So just to check the answers. Yeah, so skimming for gist. Typically, we're in a book, we're in a bookshop. We're going from bookcase to bookcase or from the islands in the middle of the bookstore. We're picking up a book to see if it's we look at the back of the book and often the blurb on the back of the book gives us an idea of what the text is about. So that's kind of skimming for gist. You also, an example from your lists might be newspapers, right? Or even social media. We often skim through social media posts to see if they're worth reading in more detail, right? Or we pick up a newspaper and we look at just the headlines, because the headlines give us an idea of what the article is about. Sometimes we only read the headlines and the first paragraph. Yeah. Now, reading for G reading for gist is what we call a top down. It's like the inverted triangle um, approach to reading, right? It's the big picture, right? So normally adults, it's expected that they're efficient readers, right? Um, so adults use things like um, headlines, subheadings in a text, pictures, these larger aspects of a reading to get an idea of what, in general, the text is all about before they start reading for detail, right? So reading for detail, there we've got a love letter as an example. Um, what else might you read for detail? Yeah, maybe a letter, um, a note. Yeah, if it contains important information, you're reading like every word, every sentence carefully. Yeah. A handbook. Now, a handbook you might read in a scan way, scanning like a telephone directory, right? Because maybe you're looking for some specific information about, how does the device work that a handbook usually accompanies or a manual, right? Typically accompanies some sort of device like an instruction manual, right? So you might look quickly through the handbook and try to find um, how a specific feature of that device works. Now, yeah, extensive reading would be whole book for pleasure. So that's typically a novel, yeah. And very often we don't do extensive reading in the classroom. Um, we often give it as homework, don't we, for our students, especially if we're teaching children um, or teenagers. And we might even give them something like a graded reader. Have you heard of graded readers? They're like simplified books. Right. So this could be, I don't know, a Sherlock Holmes novel. Now, originally the Sherlock Holmes novel was kind of difficult to read, but they they have these simplified versions of the books called graded readers, and those can be quite useful to develop the love of reading with your students. Yeah? Intensive reading, yeah, that's where we use the text to focus on grammar or lexis. It could be get the students to underline or circle um, examples of present perfect in the text. Yeah. Any questions about that? No, I'm aware that, not everyone perhaps gets these reading skills in one go. So I'm going to give you another activity, um, just really to show you the activity, and you might want to do this for homework, test yourself after the lesson. It's on a word wall, and it's really just matching definitions from the TKT glossary with the terminology. So this is what you get. So keep the link, and maybe you could test yourself after the session. So is this note taking? Uh, is this inferring attitude? Understand the general meaning of a text without paying attention to. It could be a recording as well, so it could be listening or reading for gist. Notice the pronunciation, it's gist, j. It's a j sound, gist, not gist, gist. Okay, so you could do that in your free time to test yourself. Because
I have a question.
this will come up on the TKT exam. Go ahead.
Listening, I'm so sorry. Reading for gist is like reading for pleasure, for just
No, that would be extensive reading. Reading for gist
okay.
is reading for the general idea, a general understanding. Hmm?
Okay.
The most broad understanding you can have of a text, right?
Professor, all of those concepts are on the TKT
Okay.
glossary, all of
They're
them.
all on the
Thank
TKT,
you.
yes, and they're in the T. You can find them in the TKT glossary where they're clearly defined.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
The challenge is to be able to use this terminology correctly, right? Especially in the context of teaching, the teaching activities. Hmm. So, let's have a look at some differences between spoken and written language. There we are.
Sorry, that's a question. What are the differences?
We're going to look at some differences between
Okay.
spoken and written language now. Hmm. So, I'm going to give you this on I think I should give you some handouts before I go any further. Um, yes. Just give me a second. Yes. Stage 3. No, I'll give you that as the answer once we've done the activity. So here we are. same group as before. Groups as before. Let's have group A, Katya. So the task here is to match the characteristics of written language, which are on the left, with the contrasting characteristic of spoken language in English. To do that, you have to read the stickies carefully and discuss together which ones match. So an example would be written language often has very little visual support. And I think that would be the matching one, is that body language is used to support communication, for example, in gestures and facial expressions. Let me give you Group B, Sochito, Vito, Tanya, and Ana Paula. Group C.
So basically, like what we're doing is how to like complement a lack on the teaching if it has no or very little visual support, then we use gestures to
No, it's just what is the difference between written language and spoken language, right? So
okay.
written language doesn't have visual support in terms of hand gestures, facial expressions, but maybe it does have pictures, right? But very often it doesn't, does it? Yeah? So
Okay, yeah, I got
can
it.
you see you got written language and spoken language? What is the difference, right? So then from there, we're going to look at the difficulties with listening compared to reading.
Great.
So see if you can match them together. Here is the link.
Professor, also
Yeah.
the people from group B and C have the same name. Are the same
That's right.
people.
Oh, yes, you're right. How did that happen? Oh, yes. B. So group B is Daniela, Anna Belen, and Axel. Okay. That's all right now. Here is the link. Writing versus speaking. How is it different? There we go. So please click on the link. So just check you can move them. And now you can go and compare your answers.
Uh,
Yeah, these are actually some of the typical issues you may encounter on the TKT exam, because very often they want you to be aware of the differences between uh, the, the difficulties that students might have with spoken text versus reading text. So here are the answers, just to confirm. Great. Now, I'd like you to think about what are these differences between, well, let's just consider some key areas of problems for students. And I'd like you to work and brainstorm some ideas. So, on this Google Doc I gave you earlier, I've written some questions. Listening to recorded materials versus listening to live speakers. What are the challenges? Okay, I'd like you to brainstorm ideas there. Why is listening difficult for your students? And how do you, as a teacher, feel about doing listening exercise in class? Exercises in class. So, using the same ladder as before. So that was Katia, Ingrid, Marlene, and Andrea is A. Yeah. B and C. I'd like you to brainstorm some ideas. Just please write your ideas directly onto the Google Doc. Right, so it's the same as before. Here's the link if you're not sure. Let me also just show you the answers to that previous activity. Sorry, I didn't share that with you. TKT, so you've got the handouts. Oops. Please generate some ideas. What are the difficulties with listening?
Oh, I was brought back to main session. Okay, good.
Sorry. There you go. All right, so let's just compile some of these ideas. I'm going to put it on. You can see your answers here. Uh-huh. Yeah. So I'm going to put them all on a whiteboard. So the first question was, related to recorded materials, listening to live speakers. Let's have a look what people said. Recorded materials, well, yes, it's more adjustable in terms of the control and the volume. That's group A. Someone said it's less engaging with pre-recorded materials. The live speaker's tone and body language is more engaging. The live speaker can't control the speed, can't go back, right, can't control. Add subtitles. Recordings may be less natural. Yeah. And see. Good job, people. Now we'll look at second one. Why is it difficult? The answers we have are different pronunciations. Sometimes boring chores. I think the word is task, but I see what you mean.
Yeah, but I agree with that one. Honestly, sometimes like recorded audios are super boring.
Yeah, depending on the topic. Some topics can be interesting. Also depends how
Well,
you sell the topic to the students, right?
right. I would always pause and write word and like do a warm up before the audio because otherwise it would be just very
Yeah.
monotonous.
Yeah. That's what we mean by activating their background knowledge, so that the students have an idea of what's coming and they can and also generate interest in the topic, right? That can be the why a lead in, a warmer is important. To know each one of your students helps in order to acquire the knowledge. I guess it does. Yeah, because you know what topics are likely to interest them. So those are all good reasons. And the final one, how, as teacher, do you feel about doing listening exercises? Someone said it's very important to understand the language as a whole and how it can be presented. Who was it that wrote that? Can you explain what that means?
It was like her name, Sochil. Was that you? Yeah,
Okay.
I don't so chill. I don't think she's on.
Okay. Well,
I don't think she's there.
we lost her. So, how do you feel about doing listening exercises?
Sorry.
Someone said it was very needed. Why are they needed?
It was in our group. Sorry, my computer went a little crazy. It shut up.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why.
Someone said it's very needed. Why?
Yeah, we put that in there because we think that it helps students be able to understand it, comprehend it as they're, going about their day-to-day life. And I mentioned like it's not just during a lecture, it's not just while explaining a topic, but just like while addressing them in general. So they're used to the sounds, the accents, the meanings, context, everything.
Right. So is that connected to the idea of exposure? Students need a lot of exposure to English because they don't get it outside of the classroom very often, right? Or the quality isn't very good outside the classroom, right? So at least in the classroom, we can control the quality of exposure, right? Yeah, I agree with real life practice and use. Yeah, and very often we can do activities that follow that then reflect real language use. Yeah, and you could do some vocabulary practice afterwards, perhaps after they've done the reading or the listening, or even teach a little of the vocabulary that might provide difficulty for the students in the audio. And yes, fun active listening outside the class, such as songs, movies, podcasts, and books. And someone says they're very necessary, but we need to make them interesting and improve skills. Yeah. Improve the comprehension skills. Ah. So what are the skills of listening? Are they the same as the ones of reading? You'll notice they do have equivalents. If we go back to this TKT word wall activity, so listening or reading for gist, is that one, right? So we can listen or read a text in order to understand most of what it says, or particular information, I think. Let's just check that one. No, that's wrong. Do that one again. But actually the skills, they do have the equivalents. It's just the terminology is slightly different. So scanning, we mentioned scanning in terms of reading, right? And that is to do with
To read a text quickly to get a
yeah.
general idea.
No, it's not. It's not the general idea. That would be skimming. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be with to read text quickly to pick up specific information?
That would be
Scanning.
scanning. Yes. Yeah. Now, the equivalent of that in listening is, do you know what that would be? Listening for
For
that
just
would be called that would actually be called listening for specific information, right? So you listen and you listen out for things like numbers, right? Or dates. That's listening for specific information, right? But scanning is what we do with our eyes on the page quickly to find a number, right? To pick up specific information. Skimming is getting the general idea. Now, listening for gist would be to understand the general meaning of a text or a recording without paying attention for the specific details. And then we've got listening or reading for detail, which is I think is that one. Let's check. Yeah. No.
Sorry, do we have access to this exercise?
Yeah, I've given access to it to you already, but I'll give it to you again. Maybe you missed it. Look in the chat, eh? I put that in the chat.
That
So,
restricted RL
no, here
shooter.
it is. It's the word wall activity. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So I have a go at that. Do that now, just before. In fact, have a go at this word wall activity now before we go for our break. We're literally 3 minutes away from the break, so you have a go at that just to check your understanding of some of this terminology. let's take our 10-minute break. When we come back, we're going to be doing some practical exercises with some reading texts, and so that you can think about the types of activities you could use with reading texts in a lesson. So return at 5:43, please. You've got a 10-minute break.
Tutor, I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, for example, if we play, for example, this game and we got some of them wrong, can we play again to to have it to know what we have got it wrong?
Sure. Well, the answers are there.
Yeah, okay.
I've put the answers in the chat, yeah?
Okay, yes, but
Yeah.
is that I want to do it by myself, so know if I already understand the meaning of each um each definition of, I don't know, of the summarize or paraphrases of all of that. That's my question.
Well, it might be a good idea to do some further reading to deepen your understanding. Perhaps think of some examples.
Okay.
Have a look in the TKT coursebook material and
Okay, okay.
also in the glossary, yeah?
Okay. Okay, I will check it. Thank you, tutor.
See you in 10 minutes.
Okay, perfect.